Day 3 of the NFL Draft is just about to get underway, and no, the Chicago Bears will no longer be on the clock to start the 4th round. It'll be the New Orleans Saints as Ryan Poles has traded down from the number 103 overall pick. Now New Orleans will be on the clock. We're going to break down this trade, talk about what the Bears have done so far in the draft, and look ahead to what Day 3 could look like for Chicago. Here is the trade details. The Saints receive the number 103 pick, and Chicago moves down to 115. They also pick up a 5th-round pick, number 165 overall. Not surprised to see Poles trade this pick. We saw last year on Day 3 of the NFL Draft, he wheeled and dealed quite a bit to load up on more draft capital. Would not be surprised if he trades again. In fact, I would be surprised if we didn't see another trade here on Day 3. We saw the Bears trade up for Tyrique Stevenson on Day 2 they gave up 136, an early 5th-round pick. Now they recoup a 5th-round pick with 165, so that is kind of where things sit right now as they get back to 10 total picks here in the 2023 NFL Draft. I like the move down. You only move down a dozen spots. You pick up a 5th. There are some players on the board at 103 that I would have been very interested in, but I think a few of those players will probably be there at 115 if Chicago opts to take one of those guys. Obviously, Ryan Poles has opted to go with upside, length, athleticism with a lot of his picks so far in this draft. Really all of the picks, a lot of high upside potential selections for this Bears draft class. I would expect for them to try and swing for some higher upside guys today as well. So let me know, did you guys like this trade? Do you like moving down to 115 and picking up an extra 5th as well? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Do you like this trade to kick off Day 3 of the NFL Draft? Just drop a Y for yes, or you can drop an in for no, and let me know how you guys feel about this trade. We're going to take a look at some of the best overall players available now. We'll take a look at the Bears' updated picks and then also recap what they've done up to this point in the draft. This is Downey's big board here at Chat Sports. Clark Phillips III, kind of a nickel corner. Sounds like there could be some medical concerns there, so that's probably why he's dipped. Keely Ringo, it sounds like there could be some off-field question marks with him, but he's a top 50 guy, I think, on Day 3. Could be worth the risk. You've brought in Tyrique Stevenson already, but you can't ever have enough corners. Dawan Jones, I don't think he's a great scheme fit, but again, Day 3, you get a talented offensive lineman. There is weight concerns with him. Adetomo Adebawore, where does he play on a defensive line in the NFL? He's 6'2", 282. I think that was Ryan Poles' concern, I would guess, and why they went Gervon, Dexter, and a guy like Zacch Pickens over him. Is he an edge? Is he a 3-tech? Does he move around? He's still out there. I would have been interested in him at 103. Tyler Scott, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati. Don't be shocked if Chicago adds a Day 3 receiver. You see A.T. Perry on your screen there as well. Maybe Chicago adds an extra safety today, Antonio Johnson. Remember, DeAndre Houston Carson is still a free agent. They probably want to get a reliable third safety at some point if they don't bring back DHC, who I still hope they bring back, but if not, maybe a guy like Johnson here today could make sense. Darius Rush, another corner, talented player, good athleticism. If the Bears want to add another piece on the back end. 9 through 12 here, Jacorian Bennett, another corner out of Maryland. I like Corey Trice quite a bit. I know producer Roley is high on him as well. Israel Abanaconda, I think running back today could be in the works. Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, Trey Tomlinson from TCU. He's strictly probably a nickel in the NFL at right around 5'8", so, you know, with Kyler Gordon being there. But you could get a backup nickel that could play some special teams. Maybe that makes sense. J.L. Skinner, a lot of scouts like this guy, but he has some injury stuff, so, you know, Day 3. But if you want to add another safety, Ivan Pace Jr., he is fun to watch at linebacker. Get shot out of a cannon. He's 5'10", he's undersized, but, you know, getting downhill, he's pretty good, and I think he'd have some special teams value. Another running back there, Roschon Johnson. Chandler Zavala, if you want to add a guard there. I mentioned Luke Whippler at the center position. He's a guy, I think if he's there at 115, I think I would be very, very intrigued. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to have you covered during the season, in the offseason, daily coverage. We've had live coverage during the entire NFL draft, so stick with us here. We'll have videos all day long here on Day 3. 3. Hit that subscribe button and stay looking out for our Day 3 grades video later today. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Okay, you look at what the Bears have done so far, just to kind of rehash some of this. Darnell Wright, obviously after trading down with Philadelphia, moving down a spot, picking up a 4th-round pick next year. I think probably the most impactful pick for this team in 23, and the reason is why? Because of this guy, Justin Fields. You've got to protect QB1. And 2023 is all about getting a proper evaluation of Fields. I think we saw some awesome things in 2022. Definitely some growth. You want to see more growth, especially in the passing game. We know he's dynamic as a runner. We know he can make all the throws. Can he be more consistent? Does he have enough pieces around him now? I got to think the answer is yes, with DJ Moore, a better offensive line, adding Nate Davis, and picking up Darnell Wright. So I think that pick was huge. Obviously, there was some, mixed feelings on day 2 for the Bears. We'll start Gervon Dexter here. Him and Zacch Pickens, in terms of the thought here, I think is very similar. High upside guys who didn't quite reach their potential in college. Dexter, about 6'6", 313 pounds. Ryan Poles, with both of these guys, we'll get to Stevenson in a second, talked about how they can play both defensive tackle spots. He mentioned how it was important to have guys that can move around that defensive line because you get late into the season, guys get beat up in the trenches. So Dexter and Pickens have that versatility. I think Dexter could play some 1-tech at first, could play some 3. Pickens, I think, is probably more of a 3-tech in the NFL. He's a confident kid, man. I mean, he said yesterday, I expect to be much better in the NFL than I was in college. Is that him referencing to playing out of position at South Carolina? Because that's something that happens a lot, too, is you get these talented players in college, and they're played out of position. They're asked to do more than they probably should due to a lack of talent elsewhere. That could have maybe been the case with Dexter and Pickens, who didn't play on great defenses there in the SEC. So excited about those guys. Certainly, I thought maybe both could have been considered a little early based on most big boards. But again, every team's big board is different. My big board as a fan media outsider is not going to be the same as Ryan Poles, obviously, and I obviously do not watch the level of tape and do the level of evaluations that NFL teams do. So I mentioning that is important. Tyrique Stevenson, one of my favorite picks in the entire draft, not just for the Bears. This guy is scrappy. He's a guy that, you get into a bar fight, you want him on your side, and ironically enough, he kind of got into a bar situation when he was at Georgia, but he's not going to back down. I mean, he just gets after it. He can be a little grabby sometimes, but loves to press, loves to get physical. He loves getting under wide receiver skin. I like corners like that. That are willing to mix it up with opposing teams' players. So I think he's going to be a fun player. I think the goal and expectation for him should be to be your second outside corner this year opposite of Jalen Johnson. By the way, I should mention too, Poles mentioned last night that he likes the cornerback room now with Stevenson and Gordon and Johnson, and says he's hoping to get a deal done with Johnson to keep him around. So that is something to be really, really excited about. So that's what the Bears have done so far. Now here's what they've got to work with here on day 3. Round 4, pick number 115 after trading down with New Orleans. They have that selection coming up, about 12 picks into day 3. 133 as well. Toward the end of the 4th round, they've got 148 in round 5. 165 they just picked up from New Orleans. And then no 6th round picks, which makes me think another trade could be in the works, get into the 6th round. Maybe you trade up from round 7 with your 2 7th round picks at 218 and 258. But that's where they sit in terms of capital at this point in time. They've made 4 selections. They've got 6 picks to go. They started with 10 picks, and that's where they have right now. And they've also picked up that extra 4th next year, which I mentioned as well when it comes to the Darnell Wright selection. Who do you want to draft next? Who would you like to see the Bears pick up on day 3 of NFL free agency with that number 115 selection? Let us know in the comments down below, and continue to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Turn on those notifications. Myself, producer Rolly, we're going to keep you guys informed and entertained here on day 3 of the NFL draft. Pick by pick analysis, playing some fun games with you guys. So let's have a day here. YouTube.com/BearsNow. Bear down, FGB. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. More videos to come.